Ted Stevens International Airport is surrounded by national parkland, lakes, sea, and mountains. It's an ideal landscape for Alaska's wildlife.
We're very lucky here in Alaska because we do get so many different types of wildlife here. We get bears, moose, we have lots of eagles, ducks, we have lynx, which is really cool. But with all these different types of animals, it does come at a cost.
It's airport biologist Katie Krombach's job to keep these animals on the right side of the perimeter fence. Any animal on an airfield can cause disaster.
Today we are actually going to be going and doing one of my absolute favorite things for this job. We are going to go out and see if we can catch some short-eared owls. Owls are the most common bird that is struck here at the airport. So we're trying to eliminate that. These owls tend to dive around and fly around the runways and the taxiways, so it makes them a very easy target, unfortunately. They cause a hazardous situation for the airplanes taking off. Worst case scenario, but there's always a chance of having a catastrophic wreck where there's fatality.
Katie uses a flare gun to scare birds away from the airport. But this is only a short-term solution.
Our pyrotechnics don't tend to be very effective. They'll leave for a few hours, and then they tend to come back.
To keep the owls away for good, Katie has to catch them. This morning, she's heading to runway 7 right, while her colleague Spencer Nelson lays more traps on the north side of the airport.
So this is our trap. The owl wants to grab the vole. It actually gets stuck in these little nooses, and the nooses pull tight. So it doesn't hurt the owl in any means, but it's also then weighted down by this 5-pound weight so the owl cannot get away. So we're gonna go ahead and set it and then see if we can catch any of these owls.
To catch an owl, you need live bait.
I need the vole. It's a little bit of a struggle trying to get him out. There we go. And the nice thing about him is that he's gonna be protected by that wire cage, so he actually doesn't get hurt in this process at all. So we're gonna go ahead and set him up. And then we're gonna go drive away. We watch these the entire time we have them out, just to make sure that an owl, when it does go in there, we're able to quickly go and grab them right away. And so this is a nice, humane, safe way to catch an owl. He's in place now, so I'm gonna go back to the truck and we're gonna see what happens. So now it's just basically a waiting game.
On the south side of the airfield, biologist Katie Krombach is trying to trap short-eared owls before they have a chance to cause a crash.
It's a very big concern for us. When we have a lot of wildlife here, they can definitely get into the path of an aircraft, and that poses a great hazard. There is a potential loss of life whenever you have a wildlife-airplane interaction.
Owls hunt using their hearing to find voles under the snow. Unfortunately, this draws them into the path of aircraft.
Owls tend to dive going around in circles, so that makes them more of a threat to airports because they're not just using this straight line and crossing the runway. They're actually on the runway multiple times.
No owls went for Katie's bait today, but her colleague Spencer Nelson has had more luck.
I just received a phone call from the office. We have a short-eared owl to band and then relocate to a new area to keep not only the owl safe, but our pilots and our passengers as well. We bring them into the office and we band them, and that band has an identification number on it, and whoever catches this bird again can look up that band number, and then they can see that owl came from Anchorage International.
Fellow wildlife biologist Spencer is waiting back at the office.
Hey!
Hey, I've got a release location lined up for this owl. So let's go
Perfect.
ahead and get it banded and get it taken out to the valley. Do you want to band today, or do you want to record?
I would love to band.
Okay.
Right now, I'm gonna be measuring his leg because we actually have different sizes of bands. So we wanna have it just a little bit loose, but not too loose. And that creates that safety for that owl. We don't want him to have anything get stuck in there or have it be too tight where it cuts off circulation.
These short-eared owls are really tame. Some of the bigger species won't let us handle these well, and they have a lot bigger talons. They can injure you pretty good. Could you read the band number to me?
Sure. 1266 01749.
Katie and Spencer will take the owl to a farm northeast of Anchorage.
We want to release her in an area that's the right habitat for her species. There's a farm about 40 miles away from here that lets us do this. We found that 30 or 40 miles is far enough. If we take them that far, they don't come back.
Wildlife Department biologists Katie and Spencer are driving to a farm northeast of Anchorage to release a short-eared owl they trapped at the airport.
The Palmer Hay Flats is just a really wide open area, full of habitat, so there's gonna be a good food source there, so we know they do really well. So that's like the perfect spot for them to be. Plus, it's a distance from the airport. Anchorage International has relocated over 100 birds, and we have a really good success rate with them not coming back.
When relocated over 40 miles from the airport, owls have only a 1% chance of returning to Ted Stevens.
We made it. We're gonna go and release this owl. Hi!
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
Thanks for letting us do this. And we were thinking your open field over here would be the perfect spot to let this thing go.
Yeah, that's a great place right out there. Open, a great place to do it.
Katie gets the owl from the truck, ready to release it into the open fields.
The habitat looks good to me. There's a lot of open space. There's trees to perch in. If I were an owl, I'd be happy here.
And there's no airplanes.
And there's no airplanes.
Short-eared owls they hunt open areas. They don't live in the woodlands like a lot of other owl species. That's why they're at the airport.
I'm sad to see her go, but I'm happy to see her go too, because that means that she's gonna live a nice long life away from the airport, and she's not gonna cause a hazard to any of our airplanes. Bye, little girl.
It's taken Katie and Spencer 6 hours to move one owl from the airport.
I love how they fly.
But bird strikes cost the U.S. aviation industry an estimated $200 million a year, and ultimately, birds can bring aircraft down.